Welcome back to another custom structure generator tutorial. Now this is probably the last one or possibly the last video entirely, because this is the last aspect that you don't know about it. I mean, there's certain ways that I can make a video on, really building on the initial check, but I already kind of did that quite a bit. I mean, that video was like half an hour long or something. Um, and I guess just a couple of brief comments before we go into the mob spawner is don't just make random structure packs like Zalja structure pack that just contains nothing consistent. Make themed structure packs. Those are the types of structure packs that are going to take off because I mean, who wants just random structures? You want a theme to it. You either want more vegetation in the world or some more dungeons, stuff like that. And although I don't think I can legally enforce this because if you create your own structures, they are your own data that you typed. If you try to claim copyright on any of your structures, know that I'm not going to back you up. In fact, I really wish I could enforce sort of an open sourceness about these structure packs, where if you could create a structure and you post it online, um, it's considered public and anyone can use it. Um, Even though it's my code that you're using, it's your own files, I really don't know what the specifics are, but know that I will not have your back if you try for some reason to claim copyright on some structure. If someone else makes a structure pack with your structure in it, well, I would almost say too bad, but that's not really how I'm looking at it. It's public open source stuff. If you want to use your structures to your advantage and not um, post them online, then just use them in your server because people can't just take them off of your server unless they recode the structure and just put it inside their own file, which is why this gets really gray if you want to consider copyright, which is why I'm not backing you up. So structures are free for all. Let's make beta better. That's what I'm going to say. So now let's get into the monster spawners. So let's go into our bush structure and ignore the chandelier thing. Um, that was me working on a structure myself. Haha. So we've got chests in here, and since a mob spawner is also a part of the generated blocks, what's going to happen is um, the structure will count the randoms first, and then it'll count the chests first, and then it'll count the mob spawners last. So no matter where you put the mob spawners below here, it's still going to count the mob spawners last. So let's just put them last because it makes most sense. And you started out by saying spawner. So I decided that maybe you might want to have some randomness in picking out which mob is actually inside of the spawner. So this has the weight system as usual, and what you have to do is correctly spell and capitalize what mob you want to spawn. Um, so this would just create pig at all time because it's the only thing in there, and has a weight of 1. Let's say we want a 50-50 between the weight of a pig and a sheep. Now the spawner has a 50-50. Let's say we want sheep to happen more often, a ton more often, yada yada yada. That's the basic setup for the mob spawner. Now that you know all the syntax of everything else, it's pretty easy to dissect what's going on here. Now, since this is after this and this and this, random would be -32, -33, -34, -35 would be the spawner. So in our generated structure, let's put inside of the bush the spawner. And we'll put it also at the center. Um, so let's save this. I'll also talk about, as I update everything and restart the server, that I do plan to make or soon release a version for single player where I hope to make it so that you can select, like if you have a bunch of structure packs just innately in your client, when you generate a world, you can select what structure packs will go with that world, and the structure packs will stay with the world. So then it's not like if you move onto a new computer, um, or move the world onto a different computer and don't have the same exact structure packs or something, that it starts generating different structures. The structures will actually be a part of the world file. It'll just be copied over. So you'll kind of select them when you generate the world. I think that's probably how I'll do it. So, I mean, it's inevitable if you move it onto a computer without the structure generator modification, it's not going to generate the structures because it's not there. But if you do move it onto a computer with a different, or that also has that mod installed, it'll keep going as usual. And I think that'll be pretty nice. So, in the process of setting up this structure generator for the client, one big advantage is I think it's going to be much easier for us to start designing stuff instead of constantly having a server jar that you keep replacing and whatnot like I'm doing right now. But do you guys use multi-MC a lot? I'm going to put a comment down, or I'm going to put 2 comments in the description. Please upvote it if you do not or almost never use multi-MC, or if you use MC quite a bit. I myself don't use it very much, which might be a mistake. I really don't know the capabilities of multi-MC at the moment. Maybe a lot of you guys use it for beta mods, and if that's the case, then I should just start designing stuff for multi-MC and not the modern launcher. If it's the opposite case, then I'm going to design an installer. It's going to take a little bit longer, that can install anything beta for the modern launcher that will still work and not overwrite every time you launch beta. So please look in the comments right now, give it a vote, and I'll see which one ends up having more weight. Forgot about the chests on the side here that sometimes generate. So here we can see the mob spawner here. Unfortunately, they're always going to be pig on the server, or at least appear to be pig on the server. Let's see, I should give myself some grass here. I think it's 2, right? Yeah. Because that's what these spawners like to use. So that one ended up being a sheep, even though it looks like a pig on the inside. That's just beta being dumb, because beta looks like pigs on all monster spawners on servers. So on some of these, a pig should generate, because we gave it a 50-50 chance for it to be pig or sheep. You just have to give it a little time. Man, it's still sheep. In case you never knew, how these types of docile mob spawn is always on grass. Oh my gosh, either I'm really unlucky or I suck at programming. Still sheep. Did I make it just sheep? Am I crazy? Might be crazy. No? Oh. Alright, so I made it so that there's way more sheep, so it's going to take a little while until we find one that's a pig. But let's just keep going until we do. I actually don't think I need to break that side as often. Oh, there we go. There's one that ended up having the pig spawner instead. And there you go, boys. You've got everything you need to create a custom structure generator now. All the different types of checking, the generating, the special cases. And this is just version 1.0. I'm sure we'll have some more stuff in the future where you could connect structures together, kind of form sort of maybe cluster structures where a bunch of things generate at once in one area. Stuff like that that I'm kind of excited about. I'm sure either I or other people adding to. This is open source. If you go to the link to the website down below in the description, you will see that there's a GitHub page if you want to add to this. The beauty of open source is there for you. Yeah, it's not a very big thing that I program, but man, is this going to open up a field of possibilities. Even when I feel like it's going to grow a lot more once it hits single player, because just as multiplayer, you can't really experiment with this right now as easily. Just making your own structures in single player. So I think that's where we're going to start seeing an explosion in structures. I'm going to start designing a few myself, and I hope to see your structures on Project Restoration stuff, freeforms.net. That's it, right? Yes. And if I were you, I wouldn't buy a flamethrower unless you like fun.